Welcome in, everyone. Happy Monday.
Hi.
I'm Jess. I am joined by my wonderful co-host Joe and Abby, aka the House of Meeple. How are you both today?
Cannot complain one bit. It's a wonderful, wonderful day.
Yeah, Abby.
I mean, I could complain, but I'm doing okay. plus, it's I heard a rumor that I'm getting taken out to dinner tomorrow, so I'm actually pretty stoked for that.
What? What's the special occasion?
I wonder if that rumor is actually going to come true because I heard the same rumor, and I don't know if it's going to be a thing.
It's our 7th anniversary tomorrow, so I'm
hoping
I get dinner out of it.
Yep, seven years of the House of Meeple, even though we've only been known as that for like 3 days, but it's great.
Who's asking? We knew it in our jellies, we just knew it.
Yay! Well, congratulations, friends. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Sophie Razor says happy early anniversary.
Thank you, Razor.
Yeah, and let's say hi to folks in the chat. Oh, sorry, Abby, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was hoping by saying it in public on chat, then he would have to take me out to dinner because he'd be like, "Oh, you made it public, and now I have to."
Yeah.
Also, I think the video.
Whoa, what happened? Abby just got huge for a second. There we go.
It's being interesting right now. I don't know what's going on, but it fixed itself. It's fine.
Yay!
And hello to Panda. Thank you, Panda.
Thank you, Panda.
You.
And Games of Fire, hello. Good evening to you, my friend. And anyone else that's working, lurking, driving home while you work, please drive home safely. Yes, and hello, Gus. Welcome in.
Hello,
tonight,
not Gus.
Hello,
we
not
are back. And oh my gosh, we have got some gift subs. Unruly cats.
Unruly
cats.
Unruly being unruly. What is happening, y'all? Thank you so much for all those gift subs. And if you received a sub from them, please tell them thank you. That's so awesome to have them there. So thank you so much for those gift subs. And friends, I am 7 followers away from 600 followers.
Yay!
That is awesome.
Crazy banana pants. I am so excited. And Unruly says, it's a new year, have to set a new precedent. Well, we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
I know. In that same respect, Jess, I'm 3 away from 500 now.
Yes! Let's
Almost
go!
there.
So close.
So close. I seriously, I want to just data dump of what this 24-hour stream is going to be. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I can't not wait until you actually reveal it to everybody. I mean, I know what it is. Abby knows what it is.
Yep, everybody knows the title, but not the content. And I can't wait to say what it's going to be entailed.
Can't wait.
Just cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. Well, speaking of cannot wait, I think we have our guest waiting long enough. What do you think, friends?
Yeah.
We should probably bring him on screen to chat with the lovely folks. Ladies and gents and non-binary folks, I present to you the wonderful, the talented Mr. Randy Flynn is here.
Yay!
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing quite well. Other than my calves screaming at me after climbing Mount Si over the weekend.
Yeah.
Still screaming several days later, so.
Crazy. How many miles was that?
It's 4 miles up to the top, so 8 miles round trip. But the more important part is that it's 3,300 feet in elevation gain, then loss.
Oh my word.
So, but
That's
it's crazy. It is, and it's so close to Seattle. I mean, there's a lot of people. They sometimes refer to it as a bit of a highway. There's a lot of people on that trail, and I think we were some of the slowest, and we were fine with that.
Oh man, Panda asks, how was your trip up into nature?
It was good. It was really nice to get up there. I don't think I've been up to the top of Mount Si in at least 12, maybe more like 16 years. I'm trying to remember when I went. And there's a lovely view of the Snoqualmie Valley. and actually of Mount Rainier in the distance as well. So it was quite nice, if a little bit painful on the way down.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. I can't even fathom that much elevation gain. That would just kill me. That would just kill me. Joe, Abby, have you ever done any kind of hike of that caliber?
No.
The only time I have ever remotely done that much hiking was when I was I was still in the military at this point.
Okay.
And in like the northeastern part of Maine, I think I want to say it's near Portsmouth, that there's a Navy base there, and that's where the Navy has their SEER school, which is Survival, Escape, Resistance, and Evasion School. So basically, for long story short, POW training. And there was this one hill that was like 2 miles up and like a 30% incline that sucked so bad. That's that has been like the extent of my like incline hiking, and it's safe to say I don't ever want to do anything like that again.
Oh my goodness, no way. Yeah, no way. Abby, I just hear you laughing, my dear. Does that mean you haven't done any hiking like that?
I haven't done any hiking, period, voluntarily. I can state that all hikes I've been on have been involuntary, and yeah. I like to sit at the bottom and wait for people.
That's too funny. Too funny. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Well, I know I have done some hikes. I did a hike around, oh gosh, I'm gonna like butcher this, but it's here in Oregon, and it's I want to say it's like en route to Bend. There's like a well-known hike. It's like there's a mountain that they call like Monkey Hill, I think it's called.
I think that's got you. Smith Rock, yeah.
Smith Rock, thank you. I was like, there's a thing that I hiked, and it was really funny. It was a girls' trip, and we were like, we're just going to go on a day hike. Well, we got lost, and we thought we were just going to go out and come back, and yeah, we kept making right turns, not realizing that the loop was longer than we anticipated. I think we hiked like 12 miles that day. It was insane. It was insane. And so, yeah, it was something like we were just like, no, I'm not going to do that again. But it was a beautiful view when we got to the top. It was gorgeous. But yeah, anyway. Unruly Cat says they miss cliff diving. Don't love the hike, but the jump at the end was worth it. What? That's awesome.
Sounds fun. I would try cliff diving.
Yeah, totally.
See, there's two types of people. I would try cliff diving, and then my response of, I'm just going to sit at the bottom even more.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do hang gliding. Like just be on the top and just like, or like, is it hang gliding, or where you have like the giant like kite above you and you like sail down, like, or is that something different? What is that called?
I think if it's just you and the kite free falling, yeah, I think that one's hang gliding. There's also paragliding, which
yeah,
the difference.
Yeah, I just want to like jump off a cliff and just like hang, because there's so much like beautiful canyons and things up here, and I don't know.
Well, see, there's also base jumping where you jump off a cliff with a parachute.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually trust myself to pull the chute. At least with the kite, I know it's already fully like extended, and like, yeah, try parasailing first. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Panda says she'll sit with you, Abby. Yep. At the bottom of the hill.
I was supposed to say it'll be a party then, not a part, but it's going to be a party at the bottom while everybody else goes and does the hiking and the parasailing and the jumping, the cliff diving.
Nobody wants to be adventurous. What's up with that?
I mean, I am, but sometimes you just kind of want to just do things on your own and be like, wish me luck. See you at the bottom.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we are here to chat with our good friend Randy. Randy, for those folks that don't know who you are, first off, first question, how would you identify yourself? What are your pronouns? What is your title? What exactly do you do in the board gaming space?
Pronouns are he, him. I am a board game designer with one published title, Cascadia, and another, Tabriz, about to crowdfund soon. I've been designing games for, I don't know, more than 5 years since I really started, but about 4+ years, 4.5 years, I think, very seriously going at it. So yeah, that's my primary thing. I like to design games. I like to play games. I like to connect with people at conventions. Spend a lot of time around the country doing that. It's a lot of fun for me.
One thing you didn't mention, Randy, you are also a Patreon of Community Connection Gaming.
This is true. This is true.
That should be a part of your job description.
Yeah,
Game designer / CCG patron. Like, that's all you need.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Okay, Jess, I'll up my backing. Give me a sec.
Get your business cards ready, because you're going to go to Spiel, Randy. You have to be prepared. No, but in all honesty, though, I appreciate it. Randy is one of the lovely folks that support us financially through Patreon. And so, yeah, it's just a privilege to have you on board to support us in more ways than one. So thank you for that.
Certainly.
All right, Joe, Abby, what you got?
All right, so I know, Randy, you wanted to talk about food and not so much board gaming. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out right in the beginning, tear the Band-Aid off. If this was your last day on Earth, what would be your last meal and why?
Oh.
I have never answered that question.
Well, now you're on the spot, my friend.
Yeah. Okay, but we're talking meal here, not just like dish, right?
No, not just dish. Like fancy restaurant, like 7-course type spread. Like make it good.
So probably wouldn't be from a restaurant. I'd rather have it be homemade, whether by myself or by someone who's better at making what I like than I am even.
Okay.
But for me, it would probably be a Persian meal, a couple of kubadeh kebabs, ground beef kebabs of Iran, with saffron rice, with tahdig, which is the crusty bit on the bottom that a good chef prides themselves on. Plus, I would have probably some tomato cucumber salad with that, maybe a Shirazi salad, which is ironic because I generally don't eat salad, but cucumber salads are one of the things I will. And it's perfect with this kind of meal. And then I would also have, to go up both with the tahdig and just on its own, I would have some gourmet sabzi, which is a Persian stew, soup, all depends on how you categorize it. They categorize things slightly differently. That includes a dried Persian lime and lots of greens and beans. Has a very acquired taste, if you will. And so I think I would have all of that. I think would probably be good enough, along with some naan and some butter to go along with the naan. Maybe a little bit of torji, which are the pickled vegetables. Maybe a yogurt drink, some water. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
And to follow up that question, just to kind of make it come full circle, when I talked to you last, you had mentioned that you actually grew up in Iran for a couple of years. So did that does your last meal kind of have inspiration from that? And also, did that inspire you to make your upcoming game Tabriz?
So it definitely inspired the food. Yes, I lived in Iran from about age 8 to 10, so about 2.5 years. And really enjoyed it. And this would be the end of the 70s. My favorite place that I lived as a kid when I was growing up for a lot of different reasons. Loved the people, loved the setup we had, where we worked there. Just a really good time. And yeah, we ate kubadeh kebab regularly, as well as hamburgers. The club, we had plenty of hamburgers too, and pizza, I think, was the other thing. But Yeah, they would go to, like my dad, I know I went with him a few times, would go out to one of these restaurants that it's basically like takeout, but you bring your own pot. And I mean like pot, like big pot. And they fill it with rice and flatbreads and kubade. Probably more, but that's the part that I remember kind of stacked up like that and, you know, covered up to keep it nice and hot when you got home. And I remember that being one of my favorite dishes. I honestly don't know if we did that 5 times when I was there or 30. But, you know, I really remember that and enjoyed it. And then when we came back, I know my dad actually had one of the kubade recipes, and he made it a couple of times at gatherings with folks, you know, once we were back in the States, but then I think he kind of lost it. And I really picked up on Persian food like much later when I was, I don't know, I guess mid-20s, or a little later than that even, when I just kind of went back to it. I remembered it. I stumbled across a cookbook and started cooking it myself. And so I probably eat more Persian food I cook myself than from restaurants, although I do both. So definitely a big part of the meal. So yeah. As far as the game goes, initially, when I started publicly playtesting Tabriz, which was the first game I started publicly playtesting, it really had no theme. It was just, hey, there's a market, you're buying stuff. It's yellow, it's white, it's red, it's green, it's black. These little cubes, and all of the general mechanics that you see today, almost all of them were there, but there was no theme. And I was considering that, and I started talking to people about theme. And then at some point, I just went, this could be used to make Persian carpets, which was another big thing I remember from Iran, sitting with my family in a carpet store, them haggling with the owner over a bunch of carpets, and really enjoying it. So I slowly started thinking about that. What would that be like? And it actually turned out that all the mechanics I had already fit that theme very well. I really did not have to twist much of anything, which made me really, really happy. And so I kind of changed all the prototype bits to be about Tabriz. I remember kind of going through, okay, what's the name, where it is. I read more about the bazaar in Tabriz and was really, really impressed. That was really cool. So I was like, it's a good name. It's short. It's a wonderful city. The bazaar has a wonderful story, being on the Silk Road for a good bit of its existence, and being, I think, I probably will say this wrong, but it's like the longest running indoor bazaar in the world. It's like it's never closed. And it also has a special section with a name that I will not try to pronounce because I will mispronounce it, that is dedicated to Persian carpets as well. So that's kind of the story there.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And I love that full circle, like coming back around to like, this was your childhood experience. And then now as later on in life, how it's kind of coming back to still incorporate those good memories. That's really cool. Really cool. Abby, what you got, my dear?
Well, I have a follow-up question, which is, what is your favorite Persian restaurant in the Seattle area? Because now I really have a craving, and I'm so sorry, Joe, because it's going to have to happen sooner than later.
That is fine by me.
Yeah, there's a number of them around right now, and there's one that split into 2 that have been around that I've been going to ever since I've been, you know, aware of them, and they're both a little different. One is a little fancier, and that's over in Bellevue. That's Caspian Grill. It's a little bit fancier. It's a if you want a nice ambiance for dinner, I highly recommend it. And it, you know, it'll be a little more expensive. Although their lunchtime menu is actually more middle of the road in price and quite good. I've been there for lunch a few times as well. They do excellent food. I think a lot of their starters and appetizers in particular are really good, really high quality. I really like them a lot. The other one, ironically, is where Caspian Grill started in the U District, now called Persepolis Grill. Don't know all of the history there, but I think Caspian Grill split into 2 restaurants, and then essentially decided to sell the original one to another Iranian family. And Persepolis Grill is a little more like family oriented, not quite as fancy and stuff, and is also still quite good as well. And we actually do pick up there occasionally too, especially during the pandemic. We started doing a little more of that. So those are 2 of my favorites. In the last like 15 years, the other Persian restaurants that I've been to, I've not really been to a bad one. they've all been pretty good, at least. Some of them excellent. So.
Awesome. Speaking of pickup for Pandemic, what would be your go-to game night snack, Randy?
Oh, that's a good question. On our game nights, there are often a lot of snacks, and I don't usually choose them because, honestly, I eat most of them. there's often many put out, and there are going to be one or two that I really love. So I don't know. That's kind of an interesting question. I mean, I love chips and salsa. I love a good chips and salsa. My partner Marlene and her sister Julie both make amazing homemade salsas. And they even dial the heat back just a little bit for me. That's very thoughtful.
That's
just
awesome.
a little bit. So that's probably my favorite. It's a little messy, like in a way. It's not my favorite because you got to be extra careful not to fling salsa on your game parts. But snack I really love. So yeah.
That's awesome. Joe, back to you.
All right. Let's see. All right. So we'll kind of rear this back in, and I'm gonna ask my favorite question I've loved asking all of our guests so far because it usually gets a pretty good response. But Randy, do you still consider yourself a player first, a designer second, or has the creative process overtaken the hobby aspect of gaming for you?
What I would say about that for me is right now I feel in a very good spot in that I really enjoy playing. I really enjoy designing. I really enjoy playing my own games, which some designers stop doing. They get to a point where once they played something 50 times, they're like, no, that really hasn't happened to me with any of my games. But I'll admit I worry about that. I worry about that lasting. Like, when will the moment come when playing is too much of a pain? I will say there are probably games that I have a harder time playing now that I've been a designer for a while. There's that whole, oh, I see what they did there. I see the flaw in that or the issue with that, or, I see how that can be gamed to kind of make it unfun. And you'll see some of that. So there are a few games that are like that. But even so, I seem to manage to just shut that away and find my way to having fun with it. I play all sorts of games, from the simplest little card games like Llama and have a blast, all the way up to playing brass and, bigger, crunchier Euros. Probably the only thing I don't really, play much of is, like the TI4 or 18XX level of the world, although I have played 18XX. And I find a way to enjoy pretty much all of them. So.
Okay. All right. Abby, over to you, my dear.
What is the last game or something you backed on Kickstarter or Game Founder, any crowdfunding campaign?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I'm trying to think because I swear I just backed something. These are the sort of things that just like can slip my mind. I back like a number of people. I back way too many things at times because I back stuff that like, oh, I must have, and I back stuff that friends make that are really cool, and I go through kind of all of that level of stuff. And nowadays I'm getting to where there's more pre-order things that I'm very, very interested in, and so I end up pre-ordering things. So let's see. We're gonna go right here to this and see what it says.
Oh, look at you have it like already pulled up.
It looks like
some of our other guests are like
from the Nigerian project,
I don't know.
Project Campus Wahoo.
That's so great.
Keep going, Randy. What do you got?
Okay. So the Campus Wahala from the NIB project, the Nigerian game designers.
Oh.
So that
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my Kickstarter list is a little more sparse than the last month. I've got a few others on there, all relatively small things, but it keeps on going. And like I recently pre-ordered, it's not the Wolves from Pandasaurus. My friend Ashwin and his co-designer Clarence put that together, and it's just such a vibrant-looking game that I got an early look at. Ironically, I didn't ever get to play it. I could give feedback on the game without playing it. And I really look forward to that one.
That's awesome. All right, is it my go?
It's back to you, Jess. Yep.
All right. Randy, I'm gonna go back to kind of your origin story. How did you get into board games?
So I did play board games like as a kid and growing up, and I think of that in like two different ways. One, I played a lot of Scrabble with my dad, with our family played, and I can remember playing like Monopoly when I was a kid with my sisters. And then I also actually designed a few of my own games, which is funny because I totally forgot that when I started designing games as an adult. And I suddenly went, oh, I designed some games. They were all like battle games or these games where you flick a pencil on a paper. So, but I kind of went out of games other than card games and stuff a little bit through college and all of that until I met Marlene and her son Julian. And really early on in that relationship, I had like heard of Catan, and I didn't even know what it was. Like I think I thought it was a video game initially, but like something about it appealed to me, and I thought, oh, Julian plays chess a little bit, and he plays Castle Panic, and so I just started looking for games that would work for a 9-year-old, and went out and made myself a list. And surprise, surprise, the first two we picked up were Catan and Carcassonne. So I guess we know how that research went, looking at ratings and stuff. And it worked really, really well. We've had great fun as a family, and it kind of went up and down a little bit from there. We'd play a lot, then we'd play a little, and then Marlene's sister moved up here, and her boyfriend Manny eventually, and it kind of went from an on and off thing to a regular thing at some point. But I can remember nights where we played 2 games of Catan, and we are not fast players, so it's already late. And we decided to play a third. I don't know that we ever finished a third game, but so yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Before that, I was a little more of a video game player, more PC than console, but a little bit of both. So.
All right, fantastic. So we've got a question in chat from Amanda Panda. Randy, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, goodness. I want to know from Amanda what authority she thinks I would have about hot dogs.
Throw it back to you, Panda.
Oh, wow. That's too funny.
No, here's the real question. If you have a sausage on a hot dog bun, is it a hot dog?
See, it leaves so many things up to interpretation.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, because is a brat on a hot dog bun, is that a hot dog? Or if you put a hamburger on like 2 pieces of white bread, is it still a burger, or is that a sandwich? Like, it's one of those silly questions that can just be so debatable.
And of course, Panda's got to make it debatable.
Yes, sausage hot dog.
I see that.
That's great.
So it's funny because yes, it's a silly question, and I wanted to like brush it off and be funny about it. But there is a serious side to it, which is categorization is an interesting thing. Categorization is really, really useful. It can also be really, really problematic. Especially if you think the categories have to be like one or the other or this or that. And so it probably doesn't matter much for hot dogs. But as a software engineer, I can tell you in other areas, it can be a royal pain to have to be so explicit about categorization at times. So.
No, that's understandable. Okay. I mean, that was a great answer to the question. I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see. What do I want to ask next? Okay, is there somebody, designer, anybody that you've looked up to as a mentor as you've gone through designing games and playing games and kind of, improving yourself in any way?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question. I think the answer is like, is there a person or a couple of people? I'd say, not necessarily. There are games I look up to, and games I say, the design of this is just amazing. I wonder how they came about this. But for me, a lot of going from sort of what I had in my Twitter bio for a long time, which was aspiring board game designer. Going from that to like, okay, yes, I feel like a board game designer. I know enough about what I'm doing. I can accomplish this. I can do things. A lot of that had to do with our Seattle tabletop, game design group. And so that's not one person. It's, there's probably a core of about 10 people, broader audience that's more than that. But we all spent a lot of time together at weekly meetups, learning from each other, playtesting each other's games. And the interesting part about that is when that started, there was not a single published game from anyone in that group. I don't know what the count is now, but it's double digits.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So a lot of people in that group, learned from each other and developed great things. I have to, tip my hat to almost, everyone in that group, and some of them for very different reasons, some of them for learning process, some of it learning how to, work with people, some of it learning, respect for your playtesters, all sorts of things that I've learned from people in that group. And a lot of credit because, like I said, none of them were established game designers. They were all making it up as they went, but they all cared a lot.
Well, that's also. Did you happen to be the first, or was there already a handful of you that had published games at that point?
Well, at that point, it's a good question. What is the first published game? There might even be what do you consider being published? In my mind, I think of Joseph Chen and Justin Faulkner with Fantastic Factories, because they were definitely the first ones.
Which is a fantastic game.
It's just indeed a fantastic game. Very insightful too, Jess. So that Kickstarter was something Joseph would attend a lot of these meetings and work on as we were there. In addition to playtesting, he might have his laptop out and be working on the art or the graphic design or the layout of the punch boards or that kind of stuff at that point. So I don't know if his ended up really being the first. It may not have. You also had Point Salad coming from the Flat Out Games folks and being published by AEG, which is definitely one of the first as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And another one I think worth just calling out, again, don't know exactly where it fits in it, is Emma Larkins and Abandon All Artichokes with Game Right, which I think of in this process because it was another one of it. It was great to watch her process of developing that game and of then working with Game Right, which took a long time to get through and convince them, yes, we got it nailed. And you just look at the final product and go, wow, I know what went into that, and I was impressed as it was going. And when it came out, I was just so happy that it came off so well because I knew what she had put together was excellent.
That's a fantastic answer. I really enjoyed that one. All right, Abby, what you got?
Oh boy. I was like, where's my question list? And then my brain was like, we forgot how to read. What is your go-to player color?
What? Sorry, again, what is?
Your go-to player color.
I suppose my go-to player color is purple, but I don't go for it quickly. I tend to let other people kind of, pick first most of the time. And purple's a relatively popular color for players these days. Although I think when I started, it wasn't so much. But of course, a lot more games have purple as a player color now than back then. And hey, no purple in the hair, which
I know. When you posted on Instagram that you change your color, I was like, oh, something different, because you've had purple for quite a long time, right?
I've gone from purple. I've had total blue, but mostly it's been purple, blue. And then I was total blue for a while, but yeah, mostly there's been either all purple or purple in there, one or the other. So yeah, a little different.
And Panda, also a fellow blue hair person. She says she loves the colored hair. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Randy, what would be a piece of advice you would give to someone who is just starting off in game design?
It's funny, I've answered this question a number of times, and for the life of me, can't remember the answers that I gave. Which is partly on purpose. I think the biggest thing, for me is it's very difficult to learn how to listen to feedback. And for everyone, that statement is a little different. There are some people who just have a hard time with criticism or anything that smells like criticism, and so they're gonna, react. That wasn't me. Certainly wasn't what I had to learn, but I've witnessed other people who have had to learn that. But the other part of it is, learning that, you may hear 10 things from a player, and 9 of them may just have to do with them and nothing to do with your game. But one of them might actually be really important. They might say something, and kind of learning to recognize that stuff, and remembering that it's you recognizing that stuff, and it's your job to do that, not theirs. Nor is it your job to judge anyone's feedback on that, but to listen to it and learn, what do I need to listen to? What do I need to kind of say, okay, I get it, that's their thing, but put it to the side, not helpful, is not necessarily easy. Now, I definitely have had games, playtests where someone has given a ton of feedback, and then I've had another person, maybe a designer, or maybe just someone who's at these playtest events, say, that person gives that kind of feedback pretty much always. And so think about it hard, it sounded pretty strong, but think about it. Think about it really hard, whether it really resonates with you or not. Because there's 2 big things you can do here wrong, is you can over-listen and take everyone's feedback as, oh, I have to address all of this, or you can ignore way too much and miss the, absolutely important things that people are showing you or telling you. So trying to figure out that, I think it takes a good bit of practice and thought.
Yeah, that's fair. And thank you for answering it, even though you've answered it before.
We definitely appreciate it. All right, a couple more questions from chat. Another one from Amanda Panda. Randy, rice or noodles, what do you eat more of?
Rice. I mean, I eat plenty of both. I am a starch person. The other night I had not a full meal, but I didn't eat dinner. I was like, I need to eat a little bit. I had a piece of naan and some mac and cheese. So
nice.
Most starches.
Nice.
But we, a lot of Latinx food, and there's a lot of rice with that. With Persian food, 9 times out of 10 or more, it's rice. There are a few soups and other things with noodles that I might occasionally make, but it's mostly rice. So I probably eat a lot more rice.
Okay.
Nice.
From Board Game Feast, when is the Sasquatch expansion for Cascadia coming?
Well, I don't know. Let me ask them if they have found the Sasquatch on the Cascadia box.
That's awesome. I love it.
I think there should just be one little piece that's the Sasquatch, and then you just get to mix it in with everything else, and then you just pull it out, and it's like, oh, there he is.
Or Randy, you should just make a little doodle of a Sasquatch. So if you have people ask you to sign their game, you just doodle it somewhere on the box.
Yeah, totally true.
I'll ask Beth Sobel and Dylan Mangini for some advice on that doodle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, another one from Board Game Feast. Who's another designer that you would love to collaborate with?
Ooh.
Well, that's a very that's an interesting question, just because to say it aloud. But I mean, there are definitely people I have partial collaborations with, things that aren't done that I'm really enjoying. Some of this is out on Twitter. Aaron Mesburn, designer of Overboss, and Verdant, co-designer of both of those. And I have a railroad game that we've been working on for quite a while, and I've really enjoyed that process. Both of us designing a game that is of a kind neither of us have designed before, and being incredibly dedicated to it. So that's been a lot of fun. I have a co-design with Sean Sankwich of Flat Out Games also that we've been pitching. And honestly, he and I are both the sort where if we got together every week, we'd probably have a new co-design we'd be working on at least once a month. So I think we have to actually watch out for that. I've talked a little bit with Taylor Schuss about, the fact that we need to co-design a game sometime. His Stonewall Uprising is about to ship. It's a fantastic little game. I love the way Taylor thinks about games, and I love the way he's been shifting on theme a bit to some more serious topics and doing them incredibly well. So I think that would be a lot of fun, especially since I'm more of a mechanics first kind of designer. I think that would be a blast. So I'll say Taylor.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see. We got any more questions? We do have another question in chat. What's one reaction during play testing that you watch for, good and bad?
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I've had these talks about playtesting with other designers and with small publishers and some indirect, like secondhand discussions about things, that there are some designers who, like, they go into a playtest, they have a very specific set of questions they want to answer. I'm like, oh, okay, I have a playtest or two that's like that because I'm testing something specific, but I'm much more of a, let's just play the game, let me see how it goes and all of that. I'm not, like the perfect observer of human behavior. So, I do that. It takes effort, and I do pay attention, but I'm not sure I have sort of a mental list of, what to look for and what not. There's an easy one, I think, which is many games that are really good because they have moments. They have, things that happen in the game where someone is excited, annoyed. A very specific and strong reaction that is brought about by the way the game plays and by the way it makes the players interact. And so, I have seen that in games. The irony of that is, like, Cascadia, for example, that's not really its strength. It's much more of a slow puzzle solving burn, and yeah, you might be like, hey, I got that bear to finish my 3 different kinds, and I wasn't sure I would, but mostly it's not like that. But in some other games, there are definitely times like that, and so I pay attention to that. When you have something like that, then you have to figure out, okay, why did it happen? And you have to decide whether it's good or bad. If someone gets really annoyed at something in the game, from a design standpoint, that can be good or bad. It can be bad because maybe the game forced this situation that just was unpleasant all around, or it can be good because they were trying really hard to overcome the game and they failed, and that's okay. It's actually really good. It was a challenge. And they didn't meet it, and they're annoyed because they wanted to get that, and they'll be happy to try it again next time. So, that's the second part of that, is paying attention. Okay, that's great. There was a moment. Was it good? Was it bad? Why did it happen? Do I want to encourage that? Do I want to discourage that? What does it tell me?
Awesome. So thank you, Board Game Feast, James, Gio, and Panda, for those questions. Abby, I'm going to kick it over to you, my dear.
I actually really liked this question in the chat, so no soul, no prob. When making a game, do you have a lot of refined notes and ideas for your illustrators, or do you let them bring their own style and have their way?
So for me, as the designer, technically, I'm generally would be pretty removed from that. I've been lucky enough that in both of my designs, I have been able to be somewhat a part of that process, quite a bit with Flat Out, and somewhat with Crafty on Tabriz as well. But I don't, as I'm designing a game, I don't think too much about that. There probably are times where I have some thoughts and that I don't record, and maybe I should. But I think in that case, the ones that matter, I'll remember. Just because it's not my strength, when something really good comes up, I think I will remember it. I can tell you, for example, that the cover for Tabriz, the inspiration was a photo of that portion of the bazaar of Tabriz that sells Persian carpets. I saw this photo and just immediately went, box shot. Oh my goodness, something based on this, and I put that out there, and that was it. I put that out there, and and the folks at Crafty and with Sid Feeney and probably Dan May, who's basically the art director for Tabriz, must have taken that back, and then when Sid came out with something, that's the basis of the idea of the cover came from that. There's a lot more to the cover that's been added in, since then, and made all that. But that shot of, the area of the bazaar, fits. And so that just stuck with me. And I'm glad it did, because I'm just blown away by what Sid did with that idea, because I love the cover for Tabriz. I hope others like it too.
That's awesome. I am looking forward to actually playing it. I haven't gotten to play it yet, but I am definitely looking forward to when the Portland meetup is going to happen, so I could actually get to play test it. I was like playing it vicariously through Joe and Abby when they were highlighting it on Joe's channel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to play testing it here when it comes down this way eventually. Yeah.
So
But
one quick note on that.
yeah.
I've been told that the Tabletopia mod was just updated.
Oh, sweet.
And
Okay.
it's completely up to date, and that actually includes the new graphics for the coins.
Ooh.
When I got to see them, I was so happy. I haven't seen them on Tabletopia yet, so I don't know how they come out there. But I saw the punch board shots of them, and I was so happy with the new coins. One of the things that I don't think you see it in the Tabletopia model, though it's good. Again, I don't really know. And Joe, I don't remember if the prototype that you've played that I now have in my home has this, but the flip side of the coins are going to have the Persian numbers on them for the 1, 5, and 10. And so this one, the punch board, it did. And the 5 in Persian is an upside down heart, and it's just a gorgeous number.
Oh, wow.
And so they updated the coins to have this where the number and kind of the flare is all like gold on this, whereas the background for each coin is a different color, and on those it's a white. So instead of just like silver and gold and bronze coins, we actually have these coins that really, really pop, and I think they're really awesome.
That's awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
Panda says the Tabletopia implementation is actually pretty good, so that's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'll interject here for a second. So the prototype that we were playing with, it didn't have that new design, but Randy, you had discussed that before we had wrapped up the play test at Gamerati that they were looking at putting the Persian numbers on the coin. So I'm really excited to see that design. So I think thematically it's just going to improve the overall look. So I'm excited to see this.
That's really cool. Okay, Randy, serious question here, as if none of these questions were serious to begin with. What is a motivation that keeps you going in game design?
That's a really good question. In many ways, I don't have a singular focus or a singular thing that really makes me want to design, etc. I've always been a builder. When I was young, I built odd things out of various, kind of everyday items. I did a little bit of building things out of wood. And then eventually I found computers and realized that I could build things much more quickly writing code than I could any other way. And that's what became my career. So board game design, fits right in with that. And I actually love doing physical prototypes. During the pandemic, and others have done a lot more digital work, but I enjoy both and really enjoy actually making the physical prototypes and seeing them. So for me, it's a lot about building something, and it really keeps my mind occupied and keeps me focused, and I really enjoy doing that. The fact that I get to do that and have people enjoy that in a hobby that I love too is just really motivating. When I've been in software, in many ways, I'm very good at lower level library design that sits below the user interface, and it's something used by multiple people to create multiple apps. I actually was very good at that, and I did a good bit of that during my career. But in some ways, it was more satisfying to work on actual end user products that I knew. Oh, you know what? My mom actually uses this, or my friends actually use this app, and be able to see them use it and answer their questions, with more knowledge as well. But it's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. I think we got a question in the chat, Joe. Why don't you?
That we
away.
do. So from Dino Corgi, question about Cascadia: was it always an animal nature theme design, or did that get layered on later?
So when I first started the design for Cascadia on the airplane, looking through my notes, I had this note about a double tile laying game where the first layer dictated what you could do on the second layer. And the note was a little more than that, but I found that while I was on the plane and started thinking about it, reading into it. There were a couple notes about possible themes there. One of them was city building. You can very much see that. It's almost like zoning and then buildings or something like that. And another one was about plants and animals and terrain. When I got back and actually started working on it, I started with the habitats immediately. I didn't go down the city building road there, and I started with plants and animals when I first started making components. So it was like flora and fauna. But I dropped the plants pretty quickly and just realized that focusing on the animals, just seemed a lot cleaner and more interesting. And then it eventually focusing on, and this is where, like I say, I'm a mechanics first designer in many ways, but the theme, in the end, applying the theme really helps and it can drive the design forward. And so I think in this case, once I decided on the animals and started thinking about it, it really helped me think about the patterns involved and how, okay, I have different animals, they have different patterns, and how can I base that eventually on, like real life, if you will, although that didn't get fully applied until we went to the theme of Cascadia. But because when I signed it with Flatout, it was still just pretty much fairly random animals on habitats. And I mean, when I talked to them about it, I said, my thought is if we do this as a Flatout game, that it's, a Pacific Northwest theme, and they were immediately like, oh yes, definitely. And then we kind of dialed all that in there. So yeah. So no, it wasn't always, but mostly.
Yeah.
All
And,
right. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, Old Man Coaster comments on Cascadia saying Cascadia is amazing. We really enjoy playing it, and it is visually pleasing too. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
definitely. So I definitely agree with that. I got to watch Dylan and Beth kind of do their magic and work this from my prototype cards, which anyone who follows me on Twitter has probably seen way too many of those. My little monotone stuff, which is very functional, but not exactly visually pleasing. But to see that come to life and get a look, and pull all that in and see the both of them do that work under the direction of Flatout, was really quite fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So being a mechanics guy, do you have a favorite mechanism, Randy?
That's a good question. I don't know that I do necessarily, but I like games, I like crunchy Euro games that combine different mechanics in interesting and very, I think the word I use is clean ways, ways that really work together well. I've said it on in a number of places. My favorite game is Concordia, and I think it does this really, really well with some mechanics that are things you've definitely seen in other places, or some of them are seen, but a slight twist, like a very slight twist. But it's the integration of all of those different mechanics and how they work together that is the beauty of the game, and it's why it works so well. My favorite mechanic, if you will, in Concordia is the way the cards work, because no one calls it a deck builder. As far as I can tell, no one ever calls it a deck builder. And it is a deck builder by the barest of definitions, but it doesn't have a couple of key things from deck building. And I think is why I love that part of the game so much. The fact that there is no culling, and you really would never have a need for culling because it's done in a different way, I think is utterly fantastic. Now, hardcore deck builder players are going to be like, but I'm missing, this fun. And I get it. That's a fun mechanic. For me, it's like, it's okay. For other people, it's just fantastic. And I get that. But Concordia doesn't have it. And I really, really like that. But again, that's a great mechanic. But it's really how all these pieces, the movement and the cards and the scoring and the resource trading and buying and the different little twists they have on it, the way they integrate together, to me, is what makes it a fantastic game.
Nice. All right, Abby, back to you.
Back to me. Do you think the term board game and tabletop are separate, or are they becoming interchangeable?
These are the sorts of things I don't really think terribly much about, which is interesting. Like, why not? Because there are other terminology things that I do think about, like the discussion around terms like filler and gateway and the different categorizations there. I do think about. I mean, my immediate reaction, I don't know if it really holds up, but my immediate reaction is, I mean, when I think of tabletop these days, I think of what we tend to call board games and what we tend to call role-playing games. And I feel like tabletop like just naturally encompasses like all of them. Whereas if you said board game, I probably would say, no, your average RPG, I would call a board game. So I don't know. I don't think that's particularly definitive, but that's certainly how it strikes me.
No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And that's why we ask these difficult questions here, to make people think about it. All right, is it me or you, Joe?
It's back to you, Jess.
All right. Randy, do you have a favorite or most memorable board game memory?
I don't know. I don't know if I do. I mean, I have so many. I think, you know, a lot of times, some of the best experiences I've had playing with our family group is when someone who doesn't typically win a certain game or kind of game manages a victory. Because one, they're usually ecstatic about it. You know, they've been struggling to do this and they do it. And two, it's usually interesting talking about it. Like, well, how did you do that? You know, normally you struggle at this game and you come in last or next to last. Like, you know, what was different? And the funny part is there's not usually a solid answer to that. It's like, I don't know. I just did this and that and, you know, whatever. But, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with, it's funny. I'm very technical. I'm very detail oriented. I'm very, you know, I tend to not approach my games as emotionally, but in the end, I think it's those emotional moments that like are the best thing. Like I have other memories I don't really want to recount here of people getting angry at the way games are going that are also equally memorable and actually get repeated at our table over and over, certain game parts thrown and stuff like this. And those often also are these kind of amazing moments because someone just got totally hosed by the game, and not where someone, you know, went after them. It wasn't a take that kind of situation. It's just this person did this, and suddenly someone is just like, oh my God, I was doing fine, and now I'm just, you know, and you know, that can be a very memorable moment, and not necessarily in a bad way for everyone. Even the person later will look back kind of fondly, like, yep, that was pretty crazy.
I have a fun moment. I don't know if you remember this, Randy, but it was our very first meeting. It was back in Gen Con 2019 when Girls Game Shelf was still a thing. And they had like a gaming meetup and something. It was in the Indianapolis Colts Stadium. And I remember going there and they were doing like giveaways and just people like meet designers and play. And it was you and your lovely partner Marlene, and Elizabeth Hardgrave was there. And I think one other designer, I can't remember. And I kind of came towards the latter part and I was looking for a game to play, and you were like, come here, sit down, and we're going to play this game. It's called Cryptid. And I had no idea, like, how to play it. And I think me and Marlene were like, and you're like, it's fine. And you were like, this is what you do. And, like, you, like, explained it so well. And, like, her and I are still like, so we have to, like, find you? Like, I just remember that, like, clearly both of us were like, okay, you know, but you were like, you had your glasses on, you were like focused, you were so into it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm playing this game. And then I had like no idea after the gaming that I like met like 3 game designers because I was still fairly new into the hobby. And I'm like, oh yeah, like this lady was named Elizabeth. I guess she's coming out this game called Wingspan. And like my friend was like, what? Like, and I was like, yeah, Randy and Marlene. And they're like, oh my gosh, we know Randy. It was just so funny. Like at the time, I was like, I don't know. He just taught me how to play Cryptid. I don't know.
You know, what's funny, Jess, is that I didn't know how to play Cryptid. I just read the rules and explained them to you all. That was it.
Yeah, which was fantastic. It was so fantastic because you were like clearly new, like you like clearly were confident enough to like, I read it, I know how to play. And like me and Marlene are like, okay, like.
Yeah, and that was the first time I met Elizabeth, and I'm not sure meet is the right term. Like it was like a wave, as
Yeah.
kind of because she played the game before us,
Yeah.
and she was just getting up. So yeah, I think someone who had played in that game might have given a very brief like overview, more of a sales job than like a teach first.
Yes, and I don't really remember what they said. I just remember being focused on what you were telling us. So I was like, he kind of seems more like he knows what to do, but that's too funny that you just like read the rules and were like, well, that says something about the rule book.
And
yeah.
3 years later, I meet Hal and Ruth in Berlin as they're nominated for the Kennerspiel.
That's wild.
And then I didn't own the game until after that. Because Marlene, when going through all that, she was remembering that play, and we might have gotten to play it somewhere else, like at a game store or something. And suddenly, because she was remembering, Jen kind of remembered that she's like, yep, we got to get this, and so she bought the game like right after that. And I think we finally introduced that to her sister and her partner Manny, and we played it, and it was a hit again 3 years later. So
that's awesome.
I always have a thing. I know I've said this, another area, but games like Cryptid, I have so much respect for because if you explain what the game is to me, I go, yeah, that's probably not my thing. I'll play it and I'll probably enjoy it, but it's probably not my thing. And I played Cryptid and I was like, wow, this is fun. Like it fits together so well. The theme is perfect. Like games that I don't expect to like because of the kind of game or they are, and that I still come in and love. That just impresses the heck out of me. And Cryptid was absolutely one of those games.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, that is a great story. That's kind of the same reason Abby and I bought Cascadia. Like the first time we met you, Randy, when Kimberly and Maho had invited us over here. Boosters and like, oh my God, we just met this game designer. We've never played his game, so we kind of felt bad and bought Cascadia. Wound up loving it. Not just saying that because you're here. It's a fantastic game, but it was kind of along the same lines. Like, how am I going to meet this person and I've never played their game? So, yeah, that's.
To be fair, we had picked up and put down Cascadia so many times because I am so much like, this looks really great, and Joe's like, let's think on it because you buy a lot of games and then you go, who bought this? This is not something I enjoy, and then I gotta look at you and go, it was you did this. And so then I was like, okay, fine. You know what? Now I have the valid excuse of I met Randy. So now I feel like I want to buy it because I like Randy. And so even if the game doesn't really like hit all my bells and whistles, I like Randy. And then we played it and he goes, it hit all the bells and whistles. I'm like, I should have bought it the first 17 times I picked it up and put it back down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That is awesome. So we got a couple more questions in chat. First, a comment from Stacy Everdell. Don't have a question, but I just want to say this is all very inspiring.
Oh, nice.
We appreciate that. That's kind of what we try to do with our show here. We got get to know people in the industry a little bit more intently and hopefully learn something. So we appreciate the comment there. From Dino Corgi, what's a mechanic, genre, or theme that you haven't made a game with yet but would like to?
Well,
and don't say zombies, Randy. Please don't say zombies.
I don't particularly care for zombies.
Okay.
How is it you ask?
Justice Day better.
Actually, I will answer this question, but it cracks me up that you say that because I'm trying to remember. I was just thinking about the zombie thing earlier today, and I was thinking about that because I know there's like an ad for a new Last of Us thing or something. And I was just reminded, like most zombie shows, I really just don't care for. I don't really get the appeal of the theme and all of this. That said, I have seen some zombie shows that I really liked, and I have read one or two zombie novels that I really like. It's been a while for most of them. And I'm like, they're always a little different. Like I really enjoyed iZombie, and it's basically like, a sitcom kind of humorous procedural take on the genre, just something slightly different. So I did enjoy that.
That was a good show.
Enjoyed that. But on the mechanics front, like the different question that I've been asked a few times is like, like, do you feel like you have your kind of game that you really love to design? You want to do this? And I say, maybe someday I'll hit that. And certainly I have a lot of tile laying stuff that's outdoor there, or, you know, prototypes and various things in the works. But a lot of what I do is step back and say, you know, what's a mechanic or set of mechanics for a game that I really enjoy, or maybe I don't enjoy sometimes, and say, you know, what can I do with this? So like I've got a fairly early prototype on an area majority game, which is a mechanic I tend to like in parts, like when it's a part of a game. Sometimes even like very, very simple parts. I don't know if you've played the game Sentient. You know, it's got a whole bit that goes on with the cards, and then the placement of these assistants and various things that in the end, you know, you do kind of a majority comparison to win. And it's just like one of like 4 major parts to the game and scoring your points. I tend to like it. Whereas games that are all about, you know, area majority or area plurality or any of that, like often they don't quite sing with me as much. And so I've definitely got one where I'm like, well, can I make one where that's like half the game or a huge portion of the game that I actually enjoy? And so I, you know, go down that. So that's one I'm really pleased with, like the early start, but it's not really even a playable game yet. But I'll do that, you know, with a number of different things. I would say one area that I don't have a game yet that, in a way, I'm surprised. I have a number of different overlapping and related prototypes is worker placement. You know, Debris is worker movement, it's not worker placement. But designing something that fits more solidly into the worker placement genre is something I've played with a lot, and so I'm actually a little surprised I don't have a game yet that's like pitchable for that, but I really, really want to get there with one of them.
I like Dino Corgi's comment to that. It's the, your design has frustrated me in designing something I like better approach. I like that. Dino Corgi is also a game designer, by the way, Randy, to give you some context. So they're like picking your brain in game design, because I know they're probably curious. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Hot take time, Randy. Horizontal, vertical, or if it fits, it sits?
Wait, what was the last choice?
Horizontal, vertical, or if it fits, it sits?
It's for me. It's if it fits, it sits. I've got both on my shelf.
Hey, I'm like, we can see behind Randy. It's like clear as day.
So
right
this
here.
is not my main board game shelf. This is like the first overflow, and yes, and the second overflow. So yeah. No, the main shelf is upstairs, and there's another overflow in the garage, and then I think we have a bunch in the closet over there that probably should be on a shelf.
Awesome, love it. All right, Abby, over to you, my dear.
Dino Corgi said, when can we expect Legacy Cascadia?
Ooh, now that's a good question.
You know what's funny is I don't think I've actually played a Legacy game.
Really?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it doesn't appeal to me, but it probably wouldn't be something I would play a lot of. I know that Charterstone definitely interested me when it came out, but somehow I never ended up kind of getting around to playing it. I think I know a few people who had. But yeah, not something I've even thought about designing because of that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with Legacy games. Like, we have a whole bunch. I think between Abby and I, we played Pandemic Legacy Season 1 and 2, and we kind of rushed through Charterstone because our group was, like, falling apart, and half of it was, like, moving away, and we just kind of got through it. But Charterstone, I agree with you, is one I would love to actually take our time with and play, because it was really good. Just don't rush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. An important question from Panda. When will you have a panda in your game? Wait, just any game, Panda, or like Randy's next design? I'm assuming Randy's next design.
I think Panda, I may have said this before, but to breathe, for a while, I used a panda from Panda Manufacturing as the first player marker.
Oh, nice.
So
that's awesome.
Several months, that was the first player. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. The next dozen games, says Panda. All have pandas. Your whole next 3 designs, Randy, have to have some kind of panda in it.
Or maybe we'll get Cascadia the Panda expansion right after Sasquatch comes out.
Yeah, there we go. Because we know that there's pandas in Cascadia. We all know that.
Obviously, we see them all the time. They cross the roads, you know, they're just chilling in the trees.
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Could use one to cull the bamboo in our yard.
There you go. Oh, Lady T says a game with pandas making noodles or cookies.
Oh, now there's a fun idea.
That is a fun idea. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, Joe, you got a next question?
Let's see. I think there's another question in chat. Let me scroll up real quick. Okay, Amanda did have another legit question for you, Randy. What designer would you really want to meet and just pick their brain?
Ooh.
It's funny because I'm not actually very good at that pick their brain part. I'm much more of a just casual discussion. And yet I probably would learn a lot from various people. Is there a designer I would put in that? I don't know. That's actually really interesting. I think it would be interesting to someone like Reiner Knizia's brain. Someone who is just so prolific and has so many designs and quite a few of them utterly fantastic. And someone who's made a career out of it over, let's say many years. Is it a couple decades?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to learn more about his journey and how he makes that continue to work, because it's amazing.
That's a great answer. And Abby and I definitely love a good majority of Dr. Knizia's games, so I can agree with wanting to meet him and kind of see his process. Like, I think it'd be a good choice.
Yeah. Randy, were you there at the meetup during Gen Con for the Charity Board Gamer? And there was I was pulling people, and I was like, you talk to this person, you talk to this person. And it was you.
A little bit of that, yeah.
And Frank West and Tate Wu, and I think Omari was in there. And I was like, you should talk to this person, and you should talk to this person. It was collaborations of all of you had your designer brain space to make a giant game. That would be so awesome. Pick up.
It was a lot of fun talking to Tate Wu there. So I think I'm going to see him again in Essen here in a week or so.
Very nice. Very nice.
Awesome.
Let's see. Is it back to me or is it Abby's turn?
It is on Abby.
So besides Spiel, what are your upcoming cons or big events that you're stoked for?
So the other one that I have reservations for is PAX Unplugged. I haven't missed one yet, and I hope I don't have to. Got a couple things on. I won't say it's 100%, but it's pretty close. So yeah, I really want to make that. I have friends in Philadelphia area too, so it's a nice kind of combination trip. And PAX Unplugged, what I tell people is it's my favorite full service convention. One that kind of has everything: the play testing, the sales, and the exhibit hall, and events, and all of that. It's my favorite of those conventions. It's just nicely sized. I love Philadelphia. I grew up, mostly 30 to 40 minutes south of Philadelphia in Delaware. It's a great convention. And I think the people that I know that go there every year, it's a good group of people I like to see. So that's actually a lot of fun too.
I'm going.
Yay.
Go for it, Jess. Go for it.
Joe probably just doesn't know he's going yet.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just give it time.
Yeah, I want to go to PAX U, and I don't know, just the way conventions have been coming up for me. It's I'm not going to go to this, and then, hey, you want to go to this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if publisher wants to, foot the bill and little bit of worky for play, I'll go.
The other two that I'm interested in, I actually don't know. I hope I'll be able to make Geek Girl Con here in Seattle, which is a wonderful convention. Oh yes, Abby, that's right.
Yay!
You're the director of tabletop, is that right?
Yeah, so I this will be my first one as tabletop coordinator, and then I'll take over for next year. So I'm like, let's spread all the love.
Yeah.
And I actually have a media badge for Geek Girl Con, so I'm going to be covering a bunch of stuff and doing like a before and after stream. So yeah, super involved with that one this year.
I was like, we're just all over it, and our poor child is like, I'm just going to cosplay. And I was like, yep, you're just going to cosplay and just be stuck because your parents are at the con.
There you go. Yeah,
Awesome.
I've done a good bit of playtesting at Geek Girl Con over the years, so I definitely enjoy that one. And then the other one, in January is OrcaCon, which may be my favorite local con. So that one's just a lot of fun, very casual. Anyone who's been to BGG Con, it's that sort of con in that it's a play convention, although it's much more focused on diversity and inclusion, which makes it even better. And I really enjoy that con a lot. It's nice. It's both nice and not so nice that I live just 20 minutes away, so I don't get to like immerse myself as much there. But it's also good because I can continue to take care of the dogs and all that, and yet still go to the convention and all. So it's good.
Yeah, we're hoping
Awesome.
to have a table there for CCG so we can demo some games for folks. So, yeah, which is wait, we need to have like a team meeting after this because I'm like, did we get any updates? Did we actually apply for getting table space? I don't remember.
No, we probably should though.
Yeah,
Probably should, yeah.
we probably should.
And hi, Berto. OrcaCon is fantastic and one of my faves. I'm super stoked because we bought tickets, and I'm really hoping that we get to go this year because we bought tickets a few years ago, and then I got sick like as we were trying to leave town. I was like, I cannot make it 10 minutes down the road. And Joe's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, bro, I'm dying. I can't do this.
Yeah, so yeah, hopefully we get to go. And yeah, Berto is actually local to us here, just across the bridge, and I think he's going to Shucks, and I hope to run into him there.
Nice.
Yeah, Shucks. We should talk briefly about Shucks then. I love Shucks, but I've only been once. I couldn't go like the next year, and I couldn't go the first year. And then this year, because of Spiel, the timing, I'm not able to go to Shucks, which, I mean, I'm very happy to be going to Spiel, but I'm also very disappointed not to go to Shucks. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as you know, Crafty is going to have a booth there where they'll have somebody demoing to breeze.
Somebody with like poofy hair, I think, right?
Some guy with poofy hair who's played a couple of times. Oh wait, that's me.
I totally misheard that as poopy hair, and I was like, hey, I think his hair looks okay. I mean, he's a little smelly, but it's fine.
Oh my god, no, poopy hair. That is funny, but yes.
Yeah.
I am very happy to be representing you at Shucks, Randy, and I hope I do Tabriz justice, because again, it is a fantastic game. If y'all haven't seen Tabriz played, again, I've got a playthrough of it on my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, and then Amanda Panda also has a playthrough of the Tabletopia mod before its update, but there's a couple videos out there and coverage of the games happening, so I'm really glad to be giving it some exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool because that'll be really the only convention before the Tabriz campaign, the only one left where they're going to have a presence and show it. So that's the place to be to see it, and Joe can show it to you there. And then the campaign will be in mid-October. They're still working on the exact date, but probably be two and a half weeks later. They just got to get the date nailed down with GameFound, and then they can announce it. So.
Awesome. I'm super stoked for all the things that are happening. It's like the latter half of 2022 is actually like turning out on the bright side, because now like conventions are like, upswing. It's like this weird space between Gen Con and Spiel, and like, I mean, yes, there's local cons that happen in like September and October and things like that, but it's like this like weird thing where beginning of August is Gen Con and it's like crazy banana pants, and then you're like, oh, I have to wait till October for Spiel, and it's like, no, there's so much more stuff happening. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Really excited for that. And Board Game Feast is bummed he won't be able to meet you, Randy, at Shucks, but at least consolation prize is meeting Joe.
I guess that is a pretty good consolation. I mean, I'll take that.
And actually, I am very disappointed about that. I mean, Board Game Feast was a great supporter of Cascadia, took some great photos, made some great food, and we've been friends online. Play tested something together at one point and all of that, and yet we haven't met yet, so we won't be able to do it quite yet. So say, come on down for OrcaCon. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To OrcaCon, we have cookies, or at
We
least
have
Patty's gonna make
cookies.
some.
Yeah, and Tate Wu will be at
will.
OrcaCon as well.
Yeah, Tate Wu's
Oh
coming.
yeah,
over.
we convinced Tate. That's right. We convinced him to come. Yeah. Oh, so awesome. So awesome. All right, final question before we get down to Joe's favorite part of the stream.
Yes, actually, and as I said before the stream started, I have a surprise for you, Jess. So go ahead and carry on. I need to step away for a second.
Okay. Panda says, Randy, what is your favorite con snack to have in your pack with you?
In my pack, wow.
Besides water, because I'm assuming you carry water with you.
Yes, I forgot my water bottle one day at a con, and that was not good.
Oh.
I bought a lot of $4 bottles of water, I think. So when I keep food like in my pack like that, I'm kind of boring in that it's probably going to be a Cliff Bar or a Cliff Builder bar. So it's really just tasty fuel. And it's great because they pack nicely out of the way and all of that. So that's that. But as far as like snacks, it's maybe another thing about PAX Unplugged is I love a good soft pretzel. So yeah.
Like, do you go to, or like, do you seek out a pretzel, or do you have ones that you like take with you?
No, I can be pretty. I'll eat all levels of soft pretzels and give them a try. I'll certainly have the kinds I like and the kinds I'll complain about, but generally I'll give almost anything a try. I'll try one at a fancy restaurant. I'll try one in any sports stadium, and any just kind of standard vendor at a convention. I'll give it a shot because often I really like them.
I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard at Spiel there's like food vendors like inside the like convention area. Is that true? Like for like people to buy like snacks and stuff, like local vendors.
Well, I guess I'll find out.
Okay. I want to say I read that on Twitter somewhere that they were like, there's like food vendors because Spiel is like giant. Like think of Gen Con, but like, I don't know, multiple sizes of Gen Con.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, Board Game Feast said that there's a bake sale inside. Oh man.
Oh.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would just go just for the snacks. That's what I would do.
That's what I was like, oh man, you're telling me there's a con with like specific snacks inside? Because I'm like, that sounds great.
Yeah. And it's more than just like you know, the convention center, like, you know, chips and soda or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Board Game Feast says Brett Spiel cake. I don't know what that is. Board Game Feast, you have to explain that because now I'm intrigued. Anytime you talk about food, I'm always intrigued. And anytime you post something on Instagram, I'm always intrigued. And thank you for the
All right, Jess,
follow.
you think we're ready to kick this off?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Are we ready? I think we are. Now it is time for Inside the Board Gamers Studio.
All right.
Yes!
Hello, everybody. I am your host, Joe Phantom Meeple Lipton, and here on Inside the Board Gamers Studio, our wonderful guest, Randy Flynn. So, as you know, we have borrowed the questionnaire from Inside the Actors Studio from Dean Emeritus James Lipton of Pace University, not NYU. I found that out today. And we have taken his questionnaire, geared it towards board games, and it's always a fun time. So, Jess, this is for you. Got the blazer, got the tie. Make this official. There you
Yes!
go. All right. Randy, are you ready, my friend?
I have no idea, but let's just go.
All right. Here we go. All right. What is your favorite board game?
Concordia.
Okay. What is your least
Since we already
favorite
covered
board
that one. Oh, that's a question I don't know that I would like to much answer. I certainly played a few. I will say this. My least favorite board games have been the ones where reading the rules and playing the game seemed incompatible. And I've had a few of those, especially frustrating when it's a really cute little game. You'd think, you could get the rules right and just have some fun. And I've had a couple like that where it's like, nope, we read the rules 3 times and we have to play.
Okay. So there's no right or wrong answers. So, like I said, feel free to answer any way you want to, or you can simply say pass. There's no pressure. All right. Next question. What board game makes you feel the most happy?
Most happy. It's funny. When it comes to like party games, like I play party games. I enjoy them. I wouldn't say they're my favorite. I tend to enjoy a Crunchy or Euro more than that. But when I just think of like being happy in a game, like when you're doing some deduction-ish kind of game, like just one, and you get something that's unexpected, like that is pure joy to me. And sometimes there's a why. Like, why did you get that? That is just is just hysterical and just funny, and I really enjoy that kind of thing.
Okay. What board game makes you feel the most sad?
Sad. Have I ever been made sad by a board game that I actually played? I don't know that I have. I think my answer would be the same as the earlier one. Like, hey, the rules make it so we can't play a game that looks good. That's sad.
Okay, that's fair. What board game components do you love?
It's funny. As someone who loves Euros, I tend to love painted wood parts, cubes and meeples and custom, things. But I also get very impressed by like targeted use of plastic or metal. Lost Ruins of Arnak is a great example. Where they've thrown in the arrowheads and the scrolls and these various pieces in plastic. And I don't know, they just really, really work for that game. There are other games, other ones that I might feel like, I'd rather these just be wood pieces. It would be a little more expensive and it'd be good. But it really works well in Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Okay. What board game components do you dislike?
Spinners.
Ooh, that's kind of funny compared to last week. We asked Daryl Andrews that question, and I think he said he loved like the idea of spinners.
I think I'm seeing Daryl next week. I'll take it up with him.
You should just have like a spinner in your hand and go, "What do you think of this, Daryl?"
That is too funny. Okay. What board game is so bad that its name should become a curse word?
Yeah, I don't know that I would have an answer for that one. I like the idea. I can imagine there are some games that just could become curse words based on the player interaction that happens because of them, not because they're bad per se. But no, I don't know that I have a good answer for that one.
Okay, that's fair. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
When I was younger, I fancied myself doing both writing and singing music and writing novels, or any kind of fiction kind of thing. And those are two things that I would still enjoy being able to actually do as a career or half career.
All right.
No, I can't do either of them that way. But
what like a particular instrument, Randy?
My choices of instrument often were more about being able to write songs and mess around. And
Okay.
So the two that I learned to play were piano and guitar, both of which are very good for that, especially guitar since it's also portable. So those are the two instruments I've learned. I was never particularly good at either of them, but I learned enough that I could write a little music on them.
Nice. Okay,
Awesome.
sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. What profession would you not like to do?
When I was sophomore, maybe a rising junior in college, I sold encyclopedias for half a summer. And it was half a summer because I realized I really, really, really hated it. So yeah, that kind of sales job, not my thing.
Okay. And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
We have room for one more player at Concordia.
That is fantastic. And that, my friends, is the James Lipton questionnaire.
Yay! Good job, Joe. Now, next time, Joe, you're gonna have to dim the lights. Like, all of us are gonna have to like dim the lights to like really make it inside a studio.
I know, I wasn't prepared for that.
No, but I like this. This is step one. I approve. I approve of this message. Step one.
Honestly, I thought of it like 30 seconds before we went live. I'm like, oh yeah, let me go grab a tie and my blazer real quick, and I'm gonna.
That's what I was giggling about before we went on. As he's going, don't say anything.
Yeah, that is too funny. Well, I think if no one else has the questions in the chat, I'm looking through, got some comments here. Selling encyclopedias for any door-to-door sales would be so awful, says Old Man Coaster. I couldn't do it. And excellent job, Joe, with the questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like the jacket on Joe. So,
right,
Randy, before we sign off with you, what do you have coming up that people can look forward to? You know, something like a little game coming out on GameFound, you know. What's on the docket for you, sir?
So yeah, Tabriz, we kind of mentioned it a little bit a few times, but Tabriz campaign will launch in the middle of October. They'll should have a date nailed down really soon. And it's going to be fun to see this campaign. Tabriz, certainly a very different game from Cascadia, a little more deluxe. It's actually got like a double-sided playmat, neoprene playmat. Both sides are going to have, Joe, you wouldn't have seen that. The prototype didn't have it. But the backside will actually have the two-player setup on it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's got some pretty cool stuff in it, and this is the first game I publicly play tested. So it's really, really, really special to me, and I'm happy that it's finally coming out. I'm really pleased with all of the art and graphic design done for it. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that.
Nice. Awesome. And to my lovely co-hosts, what do you all have planned this week? Abby?
Yeah,
Well, I can say Joe's schedule because Joe has nothing planned for the rest of this week because of Shucks. There we go. I did his schedule for him. I'm so helpful.
That's my schedule. Come see me at Crafty Games booth to demo Randy's game Tabriz. I'll be there all weekend. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm taking the week off to prepare for Shucks and kind of decompress a little bit.
Yep. And then most likely Thursday, I'll be doing Cult of the Lamb, trying to build my little cult. Sunday, I'll probably be doing something, but it's to be determined because it's more of to being determined if I'm going to make it out of bed or if I'm going to stay in bed and watch anime all day with the kid. So we haven't decided yet.
Nice. And for me, you can catch me back here on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific. Oh no, Randy's battery's about to die.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I think we're wrapping
Should
up.
be okay timing.
Okay. I just saw this like blue screen and it was like low battery. Oh no. So okay, I'll make this fast. 11 a.m. Pacific on Wednesday. I'm gonna finish closing out my Space Timber month of playing space-themed games. And I'm glad you mentioned Sentient, Randy, because I was debating on either playing Sentient or Under Fallen Skies on Wednesday, and I'm not sure which one yet. So it's going to be one of those two games, friends. And then Friday, I will be back here at 10 a.m. Pacific, hopefully getting further into my Extra Life jigsaw puzzle that I've been surprisingly doing very well on stream. Thanks to everybody in the chat for their encouragement and helping me out. Somehow I just get the good vibes flowing through the chat, and I like find all the pieces that I'm looking for. It's phenomenal and fantastic. But I want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. Thanks to everybody that was asking questions. Thanks to my lovely co-host. And last but certainly not least, thanks to the wonderful Randy Flynn for just being an amazing person and a friend of all of us and of the stream. We appreciate you. So thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on. I have had a blast.
Yeah. And where shall we send over to the raid? Sorry, Joe, you said something?
Oh, I was just saying Randy was amazing and glad he was here.
Agreed. Who do we got to send over?
Let's see. Benita's still live, but I think she might be like in the last 20 minutes of her stream wrapping up. I think it's about time where she usually ends.
Okay.
Bonzinator's on doing some board game unboxings, and also look like she's playing Words on Stream with chat. Joe and Ambi are doing their thing with Baba Is You. And that is everybody I've got on right now.
All right. Well, we can send everybody to Benita. Why not?
All right, cool.
Benita, okay. Let's see, did that work? I think it did. Awesome sauce. All right, friends. Well, this has been fantastic. I'm going to say thanks to everybody again. And until next time, friends, stay safe. Enjoy your board games. Be kind to one another. And we'll catch you all on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.